Brock Lesnar might be on his way back to WWE. We all know that Brock was involved with the Vince McMahon stuff and the scandals and doing just the nasty stuff. He's just gross, man. But that doesn't seem to stop TKO and WWE from bringing the Beast back. We had on Monday Night Raw 2 different teases, hints of Brock returning, where you had Seth Rollins mentioning the Beast. You had Cody Rhodes mentioning that he slayed a beast already. So to me, those are not just by accident. Those are deliberate. Those are WWE planting seeds. It's a live show, but that stuff's scripted. And to do it twice, you're trying to get that point across on TV. Now, looking at the WWE schedule, there are a couple of options for bringing Brock back, and the timelines, the opponents, and what we could see for Brock Lesnar. Whether we like it or not, it's probably gonna happen. The other thing that should happen is that you hit the subscribe button here on the channel because it helps us grow and supports us for everything we do. Brock Lesnar, when he could return, I think that it's not gonna happen anytime really soon. WWE likes to long play these things now. Slow burn, drop the teases, the hints, the QR codes. No, I don't think Brock's gonna get a QR code. Imagine that. Nobody would want to see what's that when you tap on that code. Part of me feels like he could show up in Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel, as a big surprise. I don't think they want to do that. I think like Crown Jewel, and I'm thinking the Cody Gunther match specifically, I think Kevin Owens is gonna wonk that finish, giving Gunther the win. It's Saudi. I could totally see them wanting to bring Brock in, but I think if they did, they would want to advertise him. Survivor Series already feels like done. Like it already feels like it's in the bank. Not money in the bank, but I feel like it's already built where you're going to have War Games with the Bloodline. You're probably going to get a Gunther title match, a Cody title match with Kevin Owens, Liv, Rhea. Like we've got things mapped out a little bit. So then what? Well, then there is Saturday night's main event. That's in December. Now, I could see WWE wanting to bring Brock back for that. I think they really want to hype that up as a big show. There is another big show that they want to hype up, and I don't mean the Big Show. Now, he's in AEW doing things, and we already saw Big Show versus Brock. I'm getting off track here. So Saturday night's main event could be a Brock appearance. It could be Brock interrupting and interfering with somebody like a Seth Rollins, a Gunther, for example, and setting up a match that's going to be down the road. If they want to make Saturday night's main event a big deal, I think that is one way. Tail end of the year makes it feel like a big important show like a PLE, but then I started thinking about January and Monday Night Raw. I assume it's on Mondays. Monday Night Raw on Netflix. The first episode of Raw on Netflix is going to be a big, massive deal for Netflix, for WWE and TKO, wanting to really load that thing up like it's just a mega show with the mega powers. Probably if they could pull it off, they would. But I think that you are going to want to make that a huge show. Look at even NXT, and they're not one and the same necessarily, but you could see that when NXT made the shift over to CW, they loaded those shows. They made them in 2 big arenas. They had CM Punk on the first one, and you had Randy Orton main event match on the second one. You're trying to grab new viewers, lapsed fans, to show some interest in the product like NXT on the CW. You are trying to really advertise and promote that whole thing by mixing it up with, hey, here are all these new stars, maybe stars you've never heard of, and here's all of these existing WWE superstars that we have on our roster. They're over there too. So you're trying to bring all of those fans over there to check it out and hopefully stay now that we're into like the 3rd week, the 4th week, and so on. When it comes to Raw and Netflix, that show, I think, and I believe there were reports out there already online saying that WWE wants to make that first Raw on Netflix feel like a big pay-per-view, a big PLE. And I think that they are likely to do it. I think that you are going to see the likes of John Cena show up for that show to kick off his kind of retirement tour. He may even be in a match on that show. The cool thing about Netflix is that there's no time limit with the show. Like this, Netflix could be like 2 hours, it could be 3 hours, it could be 3 hours and 10 minutes if they need it to. If the matches and the way they want to end the show, if it warrants it, they can make it as long or as short as they want. But when it comes to Brock Lesnar, that's where I feel like you either set things up at Saturday night's main event or you have him make his return appearance on Raw on Netflix. Brock is always an interesting case because he doesn't wrestle on TV. We haven't seen Brock Lesnar wrestle a match on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown in like 15 years, it feels like. Yes, I know he did the Raw after Mania tag team thing with Cody, but he dummied him before the match even started. If you really want to make things interesting, if you really want to do something huge, you could have Brock Lesnar either wrestle on Raw on Netflix, which would, I think, shock a lot of people. You could set up that advertising in December on Saturday Night's Main Event to really hype it up as one of the marquee matches that you're going to get on Raw. Or you just have Brock return on the first debut episode of Raw on Netflix to make a huge splash and to set up what he's going to do next. Brock, you are always going to get limited dates and limited appearances. And Brock could show up to take out one of his opponents of who he's going to fight and set things up for, say, WrestleMania. So who could Brock Lesnar fight? If you're going to tee this thing up on Netflix on Raw, at the Royal Rumble, assuming Brock's one and only appearances maybe is going to be WrestleMania. Maybe Brock's at the stadium show for the Royal Rumble, or he's in the Royal Rumble. A big match is going to be Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. This was the reported plans for last year, but with everything that went down with Vince and Brock, that didn't happen and that was all scrapped. I think that WWE would still want to revisit this, like they just had the tease, a little tiny tease between Cody and Gunther, where Cody talked about how he's already slayed the beast. Gunther has not. Now, if you have Gunther versus Brock at Mania, it's gonna be cool. I want Gunther to go over, by the way, but I think that that is a giant marquee match, and I don't see the world title being involved. I think that if you get Brock and Gunther to happen, you could see Gunther dropping the world title by, say, the Royal Rumble. People will go, oh no, he should be main eventing WrestleMania with the title belt. Or other people feel like somebody should just destroy Gunther. But I think that if you got Brock there for Gunther, don't put the title in there. Move the title belt over to Seth, Drew, Punk, that whole situation. And then Gunther, feeling like he needs to kind of prove himself that he is the dominant force, the dominant champion, goes to fight Brock Lesnar at Mania and beats Brock one-on-one. Because if we rewind the tape a little bit, we're coming up to Crown Jewel, Cody versus Gunther for the big mega crown title. Thing's gigantic. So, and it's very silly that they do these things. And they're never going to see that belt again, by the way. So I think that in that match, you get like Kevin Owens wonk finish and Gunther ends up winning. But then you start looking at all of the accolades, everything Gunther has done, where he's going to say Crown Jewel champion, King of the Ring, world champion, longest intercontinental champion. If he has all of those things under his belt, he's got way more to even go and fight Brock Lesnar with, to say, look at all my accolades. And there's one thing I haven't done, which is fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and beat him, which would then propel Gunther even higher. And I don't think Brock really cares one way or another. We don't know Brock Lesnar, but I can't imagine he cares all that much whether he wins or loses, as long as, you know, the thing's he's gonna get paid and the match is gonna be kind of what he wants to put together with the right opponent. Can't always be Undertaker and it can't always be Roman Reigns. But if you don't do Gunther, if Brock comes back and you don't get Gunther, or let's say you are gonna get Brock versus Gunther and Brock versus somebody else later on down the road, don't know when, but if you're gonna have Brock for maybe final year, let's say, another match I kind of want to see, maybe just one more time, Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. John on his retirement tour. It probably would look painful. The last time we've seen like Brock and John Cena going at it, John Cena just got suplexed, and he was a younger man back then and he could handle those things. I don't know if we could handle Brock Lesnar just German suplexing John Cena around the ring for 10 minutes and calling it a day. I don't know how captivating that is, nor do I know how much interest there's for fans to say, okay, we're just going to do this match and Brock squashes John, or does John have a decent fight? But it'd be cool to be able to go back through their history and these two going at it for so many years. And it's the ruthless aggression era culminating between these two. Somebody else you could do, Randy Orton. Now we had Brock and Randy before, and Brock split his head open, and it was a gushing bloody mess of a finish. Randy Orton is like almost 300 pounds and he's massive. Randy Orton today, sizing up against Brock Lesnar today, they're not far off from each other. Randy's huge. And so with that, because you got a slower, methodical pace of Randy Orton, you got two legends, two guys that went up in the system together, Randy Brock could work as a match. Don't know if that's WrestleMania. Hopefully it's like Randy and Cody at Mania, but if it's not, what would you do with Randy Orton? Randy Brock at Mania is a big money match. If they can build and tell the story correctly, you got two legends in there, two supreme athletes coming towards the tail end of their career. It's another one to knock off the list for Randy Orton. I would want to see the RKO and Randy wins. Other names on the list. Go and revisit Seth Rollins. You could do Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. I don't know how much intrigue there is there for me. I feel like that was done a lot with mixing it in with Roman Reigns. So I'm not particularly excited if they wanted to bring Seth into the fold against Brock. I don't know what the motivation really would be for that match. Another match I would want to see, and maybe they want to do it because they keep building this person up, but it's going to be Bronson Reed. They are building Bronson Reed and doing a really good job of it, where he's been in the last Monster Standing match, decimating guys like Seth Rollins with the Tsunami. You could have Brock doing the face-to-face with Bronson Reed, and you could have Brock eat some tsunamis to really try to tell a story of two massive guys. Bronson Reed just dumbing through all of these superstars on Raw when he finally gets to his biggest challenge, being Brock Lesnar. And then you could try to see if you can get the moments of like Brock trying to F5 Bronson Reed, or they break the ring like they've done before. So that could be a fun big man match if you really want to elevate Bronson Reed. Another superstar for Brock Lesnar, Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, like Bronson Reed, they are on the ascent. They're going up, stock is rising. I feel like Braun's gonna get that IC title once again and move on to the world title by next year. But if you wanna elevate somebody, you wanna show how big they are and how much WWE has faith in them, you could put Braun Breaker in a one-on-one program with Brock Lesnar. It'd be kind of scary, but seeing him try to pull off some super spears and the running spears on Brock Lesnar could still toss him around with some F5s and German suplexes. Braun Breaker, I feel like, is a great candidate of somebody you want to put over as a young talent who's got a lot of accolades, good credentials, and getting a win on Brock Lesnar, whether it's going to be Raw on Netflix, WrestleMania 41, or like SummerSlam of next year, which is a 2-night affair. Braun Breaker right now is somebody I think that can really use that kind of push and that kind of rub. Now, other names I got on my list. Are you gonna do Roman Reigns? Are you gonna put Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar back together? No, I think that those guys are done. It's just, we did it so long, so many years, so many matches. The final one at SummerSlam with the tractor and everything, and that was like Triple H's first SummerSlam when Vince was like, he was in and out. That was a fun match. They made it memorable. I don't want to see Roman Brock again. So no, I don't need to see Tribal Chief, because we've seen every which way they could do this thing. It's over. Cody, same thing. We had the series with Cody. Don't know how much good that did. The final match was fine, but I don't need to see Cody and Brock going at it. But one match I'd be curious about, and based off of what they did for this run right now, that's CM Punk. I got Punk versus Brock again, but it's way more storytelling and similar to Drew McIntyre Punk, where you got more brawls. Punk would have to fight from underneath because Brock is just scary big. You can do a no DQ kind of match. The issue with Punk versus Brock and doing that, I feel, is it's kind of a so what. It's like, okay, it's almost like John Cena or Randy Orton doing a match with Brock Lesnar. I'm like, what's the point? What's the motivation? What's the story? You don't have Paul Heyman mixed in there. So who really cares about that, despite it being maybe very entertaining and what a lot of people would want to see? I just don't see why these two would cross paths, why their characters would be having any motivation to fight one another. But that does bring up one other thing I would like to see. I would like to see in Brock's final run, if we are going to get it, I want to see Brock and Paul Heyman one more time. I don't know if we would, because Paul Heyman is now so entrenched and moved over with Tribal Chief. The history of Paul, Brock, the story of like, you know, them turning on each other, Paul Heyman turning on Brock Lesnar, going with Roman Reigns, the back and forth in there. We've seen all of that. But if enough time has passed, could you get Paul Heyman out there one more time with Brock, announcing him? Right now with the landscape at WWE, I don't think they really need Brock Lesnar back, but it is a big name, and you're probably gonna get like Goldberg coming back too. See, is that something you want? Do you want that to happen to you again? Brock versus Goldberg one more time? Probably not. But if you want to talk Goldberg and his final opponents, click this video right here because we're going into all of that. Have a great day. See ya.